Man, rich people stay getting rich. Rich people, you ever heard the term the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, bro? That's not just saying everybody knows rich people get richer. But it's not because rich people are favored by the system or rich people exploit poorer people, right? I mean, some of that is true, but that's not the only reason, you feel me? The reason that rich people get richer is because they know how to work the system. It looks like the system loves them because they know how to work the system, bro. Rich people know how to play the game. Understand that the whole system, life, is just a game, bro. And people who are poor, who are not financially literate, they don't know how to play the game. So then they blame the players who read the rules and know how to play the game when it's not the players. You ever heard the term don't hate the player, hate the game? You feel what I'm saying? But in this case, don't hate the game, don't hate the player, because you can't change the game. You feel what I'm saying? But now I'm gonna teach y'all how to play the game, right? So what's good, YouTube, man? It's your boy GLX back with another banger for y'all. And in this video, y'all, I'm gonna be explaining to y'all how the rich get richer, bro. I'm gonna make this a series, like explaining the game. You feel what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna call this series explaining the game. This is just basically gonna show y'all the games, the loopholes, laws, and stuff about getting rich. You feel what I'm saying? Be sure to like, comment, subscribe to the video, y'all. Let's get straight into it, man. Now, understand that when I say the game, bro, I'm not just talking about rich old white man sitting in a circle smoking a cigar trying to choose which black neighborhood to like destroy. You feel what I'm saying? Like which black neighborhood to send drugs to and shit. You feel what I'm saying? That's not what I'm talking about, bro. The game, bro, is simply just taxes and just things that how much money you get taken from you. You feel what I'm saying? Understand that rich people don't pay tax, but it's not because they're rich that they don't pay tax. It's because they know how to avoid the tax. You feel what I'm saying? Rich people have to pay tax like everybody else. However, they do it in a way that's way different from you and me. One of the main ways that rich people avoid taxes, bro, is something called buy, borrow, and die. And this is something that a lot of y'all have never even heard about. I never heard about this until like late last year. You feel what I'm saying? Like December last year. But this is such a powerful technique to avoid taxes and build generational wealth, bro. It's so powerful, and we are not taught about this stuff in schools. You feel what I'm saying? So what is buy, borrow, die? What is buy, borrow, die, bro? So buying is 3 parts, right? Buy, borrow, die. Buying is the first part. Buying is you buy something, you buy an asset that appreciates with value. For example, it could be real estate. It could be stocks that give you dividends. It could be commercial real estate or something else. Something that gives value and something that is at least like tangible or gives you value and can be exchanged for liquid money. You know what I'm saying? And that can be exchanged for like money. That is the buy part. So let's say for this example, I buy let's use stocks for this example, because I always use real estate. Let's use stocks for this example, right? Let's say I buy $1 million worth of stocks, and the stock goes up 10% every year with dividends of like 5-10%, I guess, every month or something. Shit, let's just make that up. I don't even know. I don't know really how dividends work. I have to be sure to stop more into that, and I'll make a video on that. So I have this this portfolio which has all these stocks for $1 million, right? Now, if those of y'all who understand what stocks like how stocks work, y'all would know that I can't sell those stocks. And if I sold those stocks, I would not keep $1 million. You feel what I'm saying? There would be capital gains tax that I would pay on the profit that I make. Like, for example, if I initially bought every stock at like 500K and it went up to $1 million because I made good investments, I would not keep $1 million if I sold everything. I would pay capital gains tax on the profit I made from that money I invested. You feel what I'm saying? Now, the rich know this because the rich, they get money from their stocks, but they also got to pay capital gains tax. You feel what I'm saying? So the rich know this. So what they do is they go to the next part, which is the borrow stage. Rich people will use their stocks as collateral to get a loan from the bank. Now, this is called borrowing against assets. What that means is you have an asset that generates income and it's projected to go up. It's projected to increase in value. So you go to the bank and you use that as collateral for a loan. Let's say, for example, the stocks, I want to take out a loan for $500,000 and I use 500K for my stocks as collateral. So that means if I can't uphold my end of the deal, they take away 500K from my stocks. You feel what I'm saying? And rich people do this because their asset is going up in value and they're getting dividends from their asset. Well, however much money it is, whether it's their real estate or stocks, they're getting money from their asset. And understand that whenever they borrow something, they're going to get a low interest rate, right? Because the banks understand that if they have all this money, they got all this stuff, they can pay it back. So they're going to see that they're going to see their stock profile and be like, oh, you got all this money, you got $1 million in stocks, or you got this and that, rental properties, you got this many properties, this and that. Okay, you look like you can pay this money back. So we're going to give you all this money and you don't got to worry about the interest rate. That interest rate is going to be low just for you because you can pay it back. We believe that they can pay it back, but we'll still take that as collateral. We'll still take that stock as collateral, the house as collateral, all this stuff as collateral. You feel what I'm saying? So now the interest rate will probably be, let's say the interest rate is low, like 5%. Let's say they get a 5% interest rate on $500K, right? That's about like 20 something. That's only about like 2,500, I think, per month or per year, however many. Now, remember, they borrowed against their stock, but they did not sell their stocks. So their stocks are still making the money through dividends and annual growth. You feel what I'm saying? Bless me. Excuse me. You feel what I'm saying? So now their stocks growth is outpacing the interest. So now they're paying off that loan with this money that they get from that stock or the dividends. They're paying that money off. For example, if that stock goes up 10% every year, the interest rate is 5% every year. That's a 5% difference. They're paying that off like in no time. They can pay that off twice as much every year. You feel what I'm saying? That's the power of buy and borrow. You feel what I'm saying? That's the power of the buy and borrow part of buy, borrow, die. You feel what I'm saying? They have a stock or a rental property. They have an asset that generates income. That income is really high. So then they borrow against their asset, and then the income from that asset can pay off that loan. So now again, understand that a loan is not taxed. So because that alone is considered debt. So debt is not taxed. So they can take out a loan for $1 million because that's how much their stock is. They can take out a loan for $1 million because that's how much their stock is, and they get every cent of that $1 million because that money is not taxed. That is debt. Debt is not taxed. So they can go use that money to spend on however they want, or they can use that money to buy more stocks, and then which will outpace inflation even more, outpace that interest even more, and make more money. You feel what I'm saying? And then use that money to invest more money in stocks or more money into more collateral to buy more stocks. You feel what I'm saying? That's the beauty of it, bro. This is the beauty of the game. You feel what I'm saying? It's an everlasting loop. It's a cycle. You feel what I'm saying? Now, excuse me. Now the last part is die, buy, borrow, die, and this is the part that creates generational wealth. Now, let's say that I've done all this and I borrowed all this money, and now I now have a portfolio of, let's say, $10 million now, right? Now once I pass away and I have a son or a daughter, my child inherits my portfolio. If they chose to sell every cent of that money that I made, they keep it. They don't get taxed. They don't get no capital gains tax for any money that I made during my lifetime if they own it now. You understand? All the money, the only type of money that they will get taxed on is if they made an extra million on top of that money that I made. So if I died with $10 million in my portfolio and they made 11 million and they turned that into 11 million, they would only get taxed for $1 million. But that $10 million is tax free. However, most people don't do that. Most people will still, let me hear it, borrow against their stocks, right? Most people will still do that because that's the smarter thing to do. Rather than selling something that's generating income, you still borrow against it and you buy more. That's the beauty of buy, borrow, die. Now my descendants can have growth and generational wealth that I worked my ass off for, and they can work to produce even more for their children, and then so on and so on. That beats inflation so much. You feel what I'm saying? And that's the beauty of how rich people use buy, borrow, die to not just avoid taxes, not just create generational wealth, but to maintain their family legacy and their family wealth. It seems like the game is broken because we don't know this, but that's why we need to start picking up books and reading this stuff. You feel what I'm saying? Man, that was a lot, man. But that's all I got for y'all this video, y'all. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe to the video, and put in the comment section what y'all want to see next. What more content y'all want to see next, and I'm gonna make up another part to explaining how rich people evade or avoid taxes and avoid stuff and how the game works. I'm gonna make a playlist how the game works. You feel what I'm saying? Appreciate y'all watching the video, y'all. We out, man.